The Global Ministries Committee is a combined ministry of the Northern Lights region of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ and the Pacific Northwest Conference of the United Church of Christ. The committee began a process in 2018 to develop a partnership with two peacemaking organizations in Colombia, Justa Paz and CEDECOL. Justa Paz is a Mennonite organization established 30 years ago in Colombia to work on nonviolence and reconciliation to help transform Colombia into a just and peaceful state. CEDECOL is the Peace Commission of the Evangelical Churches of Colombia. During that process, we've learned about an agreement to end decades of war with guerrilla factions in Colombia, the Peace Accords, an agreement between the government and the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, or FARC, and certified by the Colombian Congress in 2016. A hope that has lagged, largely because of resistance from the administration of President Iván Duque and of Duque himself. A new administration was elected May 29th. Gustavo Petro is the new president, along with Francia Marquez as vice president, promising a second chance to tackle violence and poverty in Colombia. Justa Paz executive director is Martín Natez.
Que la izquierda democrática, un movimiento popular, llega al poder.
The first thing we have to say is that these elections marks a historical moment in our history. It is the first time in Colombia where or when what we call a left democratic movement wins these Colombian elections. So this is really important for us. This is really important. It's a historical moment.
Y esto demuestra la importancia de los acuerdos de paz.
For this, we have to think about and reflect about the importance the peace accords had in these elections. These elections were also really influenced by the need this country has and the desire this country has for peace. So the peace accords have a very important role in these elections. Also, these elections mean for us and represents for us the importance of the
moving
towards reconciliation and the exit or getting out through negotiated processes, to getting out of conflict through negotiation and dialogue. That it is possible. That's what it means for us. That having conversations can get us out of conflict, can transform our conflicts.
Porque Gustavo Petro viene de firmar hace 30 años, más de 30 años, firmó un acuerdo de paz.
That Gustavo Petro helped and participated in the 1991 Constitution of Colombia.
Lo tercero que hay que decir es que fueron derrotados los partidos tradicionales y todos aquellos que apostaban por la guerra, por el odio y el clasismo.
The third thing we have to say about this is that the more traditional parties, the parties that usually win these elections, have been defeated. And it's not only that these parties have been defeated, but what they mean or what they have been doing for over these years. First, they have been generating hate and also generating conflict and odio and war. They have been promoting war, and these elections, the new elections, and these the Pacto Histórico represents a getting out of those constant situations here: hate, war, and conflict.
Lo otro que hay que decir es, mire, estamos felices. Una vicepresidenta mujer.
Uy. Xiomara will translate that.
It is very important to notice that we are going to have a vice president that is a woman. She's Afro-Colombian. She's a victim of the conflict, and she's a political leader in justice for ecological
issues.
topics.
She has a Goldman Award.
Exactly.
So it's not, it's really, she has the parallel of the Nobel Prize, but in ecological issues.
The New York Times and National Geographic have made articles about her. On Sunday, they came out.
So that's our vice president.
Yes.
En un país blanco, patriarcal, elitista, el cambio lo representa una mujer afrocolombiana.
In a country which is white, patriarchal, and elitist, this is that's what this election means in terms of what Francia Marquez means in these elections.
And I want to add to what Martin is saying that once you see the Colombia map of where did Pedro and Francia won, if you see those territories, those are where the conflict has hit pretty hard. And she had a very protagonic figure there on convincing these people to come out and vote.
Temas centrales, digamos, temas centrales por lo que estamos también muy comprometidos y hay mucha esperanza. Temas centrales para el nuevo gobierno.
Central topics for the new government.
Primero, apostarle a la paz completa.
First thing, one central thing, to have all in for a total peace. That's a concept. Steve, for your notes, total peace is a concept, a whole concept that has been developed for in the Pacto Histórico. Total peace. That's the first thing. Have all in for total peace. Second, the implementation, the actual implementation of the peace accord, because in Duque's government that did not happen. Third, dialogues with the ELN, Ejército de Liberación Nacional, National Liberation Army. That dialogue was opened, initiated in 2016, maybe. ¿En qué año se iniciaron los diálogos con el ELN?
En el año 2014.
2014, these dialogues they initiated. They started over the 2014 with Duque's government. They were interrupted, and that's why it is important during this government that these dialogues will be continue.
Y sometimiento. Todos los grupos paramilitares.
And bring to justice the paramilitary groups.
A eso se le llama la paz total, la paz más integral para avanzar hacia la reconciliación política del país.
That's what we call total peace. So the total peace is what will bring us the total reconciliation of the country.
El segundo tema es crucial, un poco conflictivo y tiene que ver con un nuevo modelo de desarrollo centrado en la justicia ambiental y cambio climático
Okay. The second subject that's really important for this government is regards, and this second subject is crucial but also conflictive for our country. Why? Because it has to do with a new development model. And this is really important. Martin did not say it right now, but I want to point this out. It is still a capitalist model. Gustavo Petro, in his allocution yesterday, in his speech, he was saying and stating that this new model it will be a capitalist model, a capitalist development model, but that will have in its upfront process ecological justice, and climate change. So,
and this new model is basically based on what Francia Marquez has been doing her whole life. It's mostly because of what she's done.
Un tercer elemento en el gobierno Petro se llama justicia social.
a third important or central subject has to do with social justice. What does this mean? This means it means accompanying and strengthening the campesino. It means
Farmer. Like
farmers. It means helping and strengthening and accompanying economical process for farmers, accompanying and strengthening, getting out of poverty, and also strengthening, so we can help out this whole poverty issue, giving new opportunities of employment, but also education. They will be focusing in developing new opportunities for education,
for the poor,
especially for the poor of the poor.
Hay un punto vital para el país, es los derechos de los jóvenes, de las jóvenes, y Petro ha anunciado el esfuerzo por.
Also, something very, very important is or has to do with the young generation rights. Why is this important? It is important because of what we talked about a couple of moments ago. It has to do with a mandatory military service. Young kids, youngsters here they by law they have to serve in the military. In the United States, this is not happening anymore. But in Colombia, something that Justa Paz actually has been working against is precisely the obligatory or mandatory military service. So that the important for this government is the abolition of the mandatory military service. And second, this has to do with the last national strike, the restitution of the rights for these young protesters that had a place and time during that national strike. This government wants or has in their plan to restitute their rights in society. They are actually political prisoners. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that they want to bring up forth, actually he brought up this in his speech on Sunday publicly. He asked the actual government, he asked them to liberate these youngsters.
Y un quinto punto que nos parece también para estabilizar el país, Petro está convocando a un acuerdo nacional.
A fifth theme is the development of a national accord or a national gathering. Petro is actually invoking these national accords for the participación. ¿Cómo fue?
Para bajar
this national accord to lower the polarization that the country has been going on for so many years.
Pedro is invoking all of these different sectors of society so they can talk and lower the polarization, the political polarization in the country.
En ese sentido, entonces, en el país hay tranquilidad.
The country right now feels calm and also feels hopeful because of what we mentioned before. But also this calm and this hope, it has to do with the backup this new government will have to the rights of the victims and the guarantees.
Políticas, jurídicas.
Yeah, the laws.
Judicial.
Yeah, eso mismo.
Judicial.
Judicial guarantees for ex-combatants. They have been really attacked during this government. They have been abandoned. The FARC political party knows this. They feel this abandonment. We already have talked about this a couple of meetings ago when Xiomara and myself had the opportunity to visit these spaces of reincorporation.
Mhm.
And we saw, and Xiomara testified about this abandonment they feel from the national institutions. So this government represents hope for them.
Mhm.
Represents hope. Something that this new government will have in their favor is a
good Congress.
They have the Congress in their favor, actually. Is a half majority, a vast majority of them. So they rely on that support from the Congress for these 4 years. So that will mean that they will not have a divided government. They will have a conjunct government that will probably work together.
Y finalmente, Francia Márquez suscribió un acuerdo con movimientos ecuménicos por la paz.
Francia Márquez, these days has subscribed a national ecumenical
Un acuerdo.
national ecumenical and religious accord with different organizations. So this looks good for us.
Es decir que como iglesias y movimiento ecuménico por la paz, vamos a tener un papel en todos los temas de derechos humanos, reconciliación.
As churches and part of the ecumenical movement, we know we will have a part. We will be participating in this process of reconciliation.
What's being reported in the north is that, Gustavo Petro's goals are wonderful, but he's going to have a very hard time implementing them because he does not have sufficient support in Congress. And what I hear Martin saying is that, yes, this Congress will be favorable. He will have support. It will not be the kind of divided Congress we see in the United States. And my sense is that's because there are many parties, and that the American press may be just focusing on Gustavo Petro's immediate party and not seeing the coalition of which that party is a part. But I'm trying to understand what this favorable coalition in Congress is.
The program, the agenda of Petro's government, of the Pacto Histórico's government. So this is really important for that. So we will have in the Congress, what does that mean, Charlie, as your question was heading? It means to have a majority to vote for the Pacto Histórico's program.
Por ejemplo,
For instance,
Partido Liberal o Liberales,
Liberal Party,
Alianza Verde,
Green Alliance or Alianza Verde, as he was saying,
¿sí? Partido de las FARC,
FARC, Comunes, the party,
víctimas que hacen parte del Congreso de la República.
victims that are a part of the Congress.
Pues todos ellos se reúnen
All of them will join together
para hacer un pacto o un acuerdo nacional para que sea viable, para que sean viables las propuestas del nuevo gobierno.
They join together to make a common accord, so these proposals will be viable to the actual government.
No será fácil.
It will not be simple.
Hay oposición.
There is opposition.
Está el Centro Democrático,
Democratic Center,
están las posturas conservadoras
different conservative positions,
y está pues también los grandes empresarios.
and also the great or big and businessmen.
Business.
Businessmen.
Pero por eso hay que invitar a un diálogo nacional, a un acuerdo para construir país.
That's why we have to invite everyone to a national dialogue so we can build the country.